So we're going to move on to Tabouli. Just wash all the surfaces down if you've done it, well, particularly if you've done it straight after chicken. You don't want bits of raw chicken involved with your salad. So Tabouli is a lovely salad made up of parsley, mint, bulgur wheat, tomatoes, onions, lemon juice and olive oil, and a bit of sumac, which is a sort of lemony tasting powder that comes from a sumac tree. It's got a sort of tart lemony flavour. So first of all, if we just chop up, wash your, comes from the garden, but to make sure your parsley, if you've got it from the garden, is nicely washed and clean, not got bits of soil in. You want to chop it up really quite small. Right, so chopping up the mint as you do the parsley, nice and small. Get rid of the sort of hard stalky bits, particularly if it's come from the garden. We need a bit more mint. There we go. So it's a lovely mixture of fresh mint and parsley. With the amounts, I think you can just do what you want with the parsley mint mixture. I put probably a quarter, slightly over a quarter mint, and 3/4 parsley. But if you have a bit more mint, that's absolutely even more delicious. Right, so cut up nice and small. In Lebanon, it seems to be a prized thing how small you can get your chopped up parsley. It's quite, Tabouli making is almost competitive in Lebanon. And if you come across husbands, they say, or if you come across the men there, they say, oh, you haven't tasted Tabouli until you've had my mother's Tabouli, which always used to make me laugh, particularly as a young married woman, because I always used to think, why aren't they mentioning their wives' Tabouli? But now, rather more relaxed about the fact that they talk about their mother's Tabouli, as I'm the mother of 3 grown-up boys. Anyway, you see that this is nice and thin, nice and small. I don't know how it would compare with the Lebanese housewife, but I think it's all right myself. There we go. Okay, and there's a little picture of how finely chopped it should be. Right, the next ingredient to deal with, and perhaps you can do this before the parsley actually, is 1/2 cup of fine bulgur wheat. It's cracked wheat. We get it here quite easily. Not so much the fine one. If you go to a sort of, Oriental supermarket, you often get in cities. Otherwise, you might have to use the thicker variety. But if you can get the fine, the fine is better. Put that into some, I'm using a glass dish so you can see how much water to put in. And then boiling water, just pour slightly over the amount, so 1 centimetre or less, slightly less than 1 centimetre over the bulgur wheat. And then put something on the top of it, a lid of some description, and let that swell. Some people actually don't even put the hot water in, they just put it straight into, and the juice from the tomatoes makes the bulgur wheat swell, but I think it's personally, I think it's a bit gritty like that. But you don't have to cook it, you just leave it to soak in the boiling water. And then we will move on to cutting up the onions, and tomatoes. So we have here, and again, these nice and small, just small cubes really of the tomato. You need a nice sharp knife for this, otherwise it is difficult to get through the skin. There we go, small little cubes. And Lebanese Tabouli is quite different really from often stuff you see here, which probably comes from another part, another part of either Turkey or somewhere, Northern Africa. But in Lebanon, there's very much more parsley than bulgur wheat, so it's not just a few flecks of parsley, it's predominantly a green parsley and mint salad with a little bit of bulgur wheat in it, which I think is often different from what you see. So I think we want to have here half a cup of diced tomato. I'm doing double quantities because we have a crowd. So I'm doing a cup of diced tomato, small diced tomato. And then you want very finely chopped onion, which I'll show you in a minute. Here we go. Very finely chopped onion, probably half an onion. I'll tell you that, I'll confirm that in a minute. Get rid of the outside bit. And if you cut it across, then it's easier to get small pieces. So just do thin slices across, which will give you, to begin with, the strips of onion. And then when you've done that, go the other way. And that will give you small pieces. You don't want a great big lump. I use a red onion because it's a bit milder than a white one. And the main thing is, doesn't really matter how you do it, the main thing is just to get little tiny weeny bits of onion. Okay, and I'll show you that in a minute. So here we are, here are the ingredients for tabouli. 4 cups of chopped parsley, 1 cup of chopped mint, 2 cups of chopped tomatoes. I think I told you half, I've got that wrong. It's 2 cups of that. Half a cup of finely chopped red onion, and half a cup of soaked bulgur wheat, fine soaked bulgur wheat. And actually, if you're preparing this before, then leave it like this and then mix it just before serving. Right, so when you're ready to serve the tabouli, mix it all up. Put a bit of lemon zest. I've just put a little bit of lemon zest on the top as well. A little bit of lemon zest, and get it all mixed in together. And then we serve it traditionally in a plate with cos lettuce. I've actually find myself out of cos lettuce, so I've used another sort of lettuce. And then what you do when it's all mixed up like that, put a really good slug of olive oil in and lemon juice. Salt, pepper, olive oil, lemon juice, and some sumac. I'll just show you in a minute. Lemon juice, good. This is a great big lemon, so you'll probably find that half of that is good. You don't want to put, I think half a lemon. Just try it first, because sometimes I've had it when it's just too lemony for my own taste anyway. And you want to taste the delicious olive oil as well. So I think half a lemon will do the trick here. And then sumac, if you don't have it, don't worry about it. The lemon zest will do the similar sort of trick. And then just sprinkle some of that on. And mix it in again. And then put it neatly into this little dish, and I'll show you it at the moment. It looks rather pretty. And there we are, there's the finished tabouli. Very delicious, very healthy and nourishing.